What you call as human potential is not of any kind of measurable limit. It can go as far as you desire or as far as you have the courage to walk. If you remain very joyful every moment of your life, the food will come down, sleep will come down naturally.
Freedom is a consequence, it's something that you have to earn.
Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 to 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 to 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because chances are you are the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today let's learn from one of the best, Sadhguru, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, live consciously.
So every creature, from a worm, insect, bird, plant, tree, everybody, all of them are trying to be full-fledged lives. If one sees what's happening beneath the earth in terms of the root systems, it is an enormous effort for a plant or a tree to become a full-fledged tree. Well, an apple tree is not trying to be an oak tree, but an apple tree wants to be a full-fledged apple tree. That effort is on in every life. So is it in human beings. But the problem with humanity is just this, that for every other creature, nature has drawn 2 lines. Within these 2 lines, they live and die. So their idea of full-fledged is hitting the ceiling of their life. But if a human being hits a ceiling, he gets frustrated and miserable because nature, this process of evolution has delivered to us to a place where there is only the bottom line, there is no top line, though some human beings are trying to breach the bottom line and go below that effort also is going on So essentially, what human life is when life was in the other forms of life that you see on the planet, nature determined a certain compulsive, instinctive ways of functioning. Once you become human, these lines have been removed. You can act consciously. That means what you call as human potential is not of any kind of measurable limit. It can go as far as you desire or as far as you have the courage to walk. So when we say human potential, unleashing human potential, it is not about reaching the peak, it is a trajectory. Because what our life is a combination of a certain amount of time and energy. Time is rolling away for all of us at the same pace. If you sit, it rolls away, if you sleep, it rolls away, if you do something, it goes away, if you don't do anything, it goes away. You're happy or miserable, it goes away. Time is running out for all of us. So it's only the energy that you can do different things with. If you bring your energies to a certain level of intensity and possibility, what somebody does in 10 years, you may do it in 1 year. This means if you live here for 100 years, it feels like in people's impact that you have created, it feels like you lived here for 1,000 years, simply because you have managed your life energies in a certain way. So for me, a human being impactful means, how conscious have you become? This is very important. Because if you're in compulsive cycles, then your energy gets wasted in so many things. If you observe people in a day, let's take 24 hours, in that anyway most people by prescription in America they sleep for 8 hours So 8 hours means 1/3 of life is gone. In the remaining 2/3 they have to eat, they have to, shower, bathroom, this, that, all this, another 2-3 hours gone. So literally 50% of life is gone, daily basis, just for basic maintenance of this life. 50% of the time is gone in maintenance. Remaining 50%, what they have, if you look at every single move that they may make with their body, their thought process, their emotions, you will see a whole lot of it is happening in compulsive cycles. Or in other words, if you are little sensitive to life, you will realize you are the biggest issue in your life. So this is one thing that I'm trying to do with people, that you are never the issue in your life. I'm not the issue. My thought, my emotion, my body is never the issue. My thought, my emotion, my energy and my body are my instruments of function. They are not impediments in my life. But I would say for 90% of the human beings, their own body, then the compulsions of the body, the compulsions of their thought, the compulsions of their emotions are ruling them most of the time.
Rule number 2, be perceptive.
Perception happens to you in 5 different dimensions: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. This is how you're perceiving life. This data has gathered within you. Only because this data has gathered within you, now you're able to walk on a round planet which spins. It's not a small thing. It is not a small thing that you are able to walk on a spinning round ball. Because all this data has gathered through 5 senses, it is not intellectual information, but it is a perceptual information. If this information is not there, you won't be able to walk actually. You will not be able to walk straight. This is what is happening for people when some people lose their memory and things like that. Suddenly they become unstable in their body because some of the data is gotten disconnected with their system. So, this data that you perceive is most important. That's what a child is all the time drinking up everything. You see how the child is looking at everything? Because he wants to drink up as much data as possible, because instinctively he knows without that data, he will not be able to function. So how attentive you are, how attentive your eyes are, how attentive your ears, nose, tongue and touch is, accordingly you have that much, that much usable information. So why one person is more efficient? Well, you are an athlete. Why one person is able to catch a damn ball, another person can't catch the damn thing? Why is it? Because that level of attention of exactly how that ball will behave, how you can anticipate where it will go, this is not there. Intellectually, suppose you have a PhD in football, you think you can play football?
If you have a PhD, no, I think you need to experience it as well. If you just study it only, yeah.
No, that is not experience, it's perception. You're watching it out of your keen interest, you're watching exactly how a ball moves. You may not be thinking the physics of it, but you're watching it and perceiving it. Because of that perception, you know something that you cannot know by reading 100 books about it.
Rule number 3, stay happy.
Why does one person need, well, by prescription these days, 8 hours, is it?
7 to 8 hours. 7 hours sleep.
Okay, 7 hours. And why another person can do with half of that? See, one thing is, as we already went through, the very physical body that you carry is just the food that you've eaten, isn't it? You are looking at food only as protein, vitamin, mineral like this. But we're talking about a food chain. That means they're all different kinds of lives. What we consume is another form of life. Every animal consumes another form of life. This is the way the food cycle is created. So in what condition that life is will determine in what condition your life is in many ways. So if food appears in front of me, if I just look at it, people have prepared it with elaborate care. If I just look at it, I say no. People say, no, Sadhguru, this lady has brought it, she's a very good cook, she's very tasty. I just look at it and say no. Simply because it's not alive enough for me. It may be tasty, but it's not alive enough for me. If it's not alive enough, I will not consume. If you're just conscious of this one thing, you will see your sleep quota will go down. Another thing is, most people are eating at least 50% means 100% more than what they need to eat. Yes, you will do one thing. As an experiment, just try this. Whatever you're eating, cut it down by 50%. If you're eating, let's say, 2 kilograms of food, cut it down to 1 kilogram and eat variety of foods. You will see you will neither drop weight, nor will you become weak, nor will you become less energetic. Only thing that'll happen is your sleep quota will go down. Because you're putting so much food to generate the same amount of energy, you're eating more by compulsion of liking the taste or simply by compulsion of filling yourself up. Now the body has to process so much food to create so much energy. This extra processing is taking a toll on the system. The amount of impurities that are there in the food will also determine how much inertia you generate in the body. Let's understand it this way, in terms of physical terms. What sleep means is inertia. Right now you're dynamic, this is life, inertia sets in. When inertia goes beyond a certain point, that's death. But sleep is a certain kind of death, but it is offering you rest. So restfulness is very important. What is being restful means is, if you sit here, if you're at total ease, you will see the body is naturally restful. Have you noticed on a particular day, you are very happy, on that day you don't need much sleep or food, have you noticed this? That's all you have to do. If you remain very joyful every moment of your life, the food will come down, sleep will come down naturally.
Rule number 4, don't multiply pain.
The notion of the difference between pain and suffering I thought was very useful.
See, pain is physiological, it's there. If there's no pain, most people would not even know how to protect themselves. See, just because there's no pain in this, see what all you have done to it, isn't it? See, there's no pain in this, so that's why you took it off. If there's no pain in your nose, maybe you would have taken it off.
Right.
Because there are many advantages. You will take in about 22% extra oxygen if you just remove this one thing, contraption. Wherever there is no pain, people are messing with it like crazy, isn't it? They call this hairstyle, they call it so many things.
Yeah.
Suppose there was no pain in the entire body in Los Angeles, people would pull out their stomach bag and you think they wouldn't do it?
No, they probably would.
Only pain is helping them to preserve themselves, isn't it? So pain is good. There's no physiological pain. Most people would not know. I hear in United States there's one group, they call themselves something, I forget that word. They're actually cutting their fingers off, their hands off on the video.
Whoa.
They're posting it online. There's a group like that.
Whoa.
Can you imagine this?
No.
In spite of so much pain, if there was no pain, almost everybody would have cut themselves off in the name of fashion, they would have cut themselves into ribbons.
Wow.
So pain is a good thing physically, because that is your preservation, self-preservation mechanism. But suffering is something that you do in your mind. So pain that happens in your body, you take it in your mind and multiply it 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times depending on how capable you are or how stupid you are, and suffer it 1,000,000 times over. Right now, most human beings are like this. What happened 10 years ago, they can still suffer. What may happen day after tomorrow, they already suffer. They are not suffering life, they think they're suffering life. They're not suffering life, they are suffering the two most fantastic faculties that human beings alone have, a vivid sense of memory and a fantastic sense of imagination.
Also, if you want to have more self-confidence and self-belief, the science says it can take up to 254 days of consecutive action for the habit to stick. That's what I want for you. So I've designed a custom, free program where I'm going to send you an unlisted video for the next 254 days to shift your confidence and belief forward. The link to join is in the description below.
The quality of your life is essentially determined by how you carry this one. Yes or no?
Rule number 5, learn from people's mistakes.
I don't know, I never looked at life as a series of mistakes, learning from that. I don't look at life like that. Well, Have you made some dumb decisions here and there? Of course. But I wouldn't see them as mistakes, I just see them as part of growing up and becoming more mature, because enlightenment is one thing, you see things clearly, but still operating in the world you need wisdom. Wisdom you have to earn it with experience, there is simply no other way for that. Today it has become fashionable with all these management gurus and all saying, you must learn from your mistakes, you must learn from mistakes. That means you must keep on doing mistakes. I don't believe that you must learn from your mistakes. I would rather live a life where I don't do any mistakes because life is so brief, you do a bunch of mistakes and then you will learn, and where will you use it? In the grave? It's too late. So
learn from other people's mistakes, yeah.
Yes, of course. That is what being human means, that we can learn from other people's experience, from history we can learn. We don't have to do all those things once again. And especially you are from the aviation state, if you are trying aviation or if you're trying skydiving or something, if you don't do things right the first time, well, that'll be the last time.
Rule number 6, live responsibly.
Don't utter the word freedom, because freedom is a consequence. It's something that you have to earn. It doesn't come as a philosophy. In 60s, we thought it's a philosophy. If you live responsibly, you will see freedom will come. When I say responsibly, not in the sense of civic responsibility, if you retain your ability to respond to life without any prejudice, without any restriction, you will see you will become free. Your ability to respond, if it is unlimited, it is freedom.
Rule number 7, manage your energy.
There are many aspects to this. Fundamentally, if you keep your life energies very exuberant, now you will see the sleep quota will naturally come down. To keep it exuberant, you should not be overladen. Largely, in the ashram, everybody, young people also, eat only 2 meals a day, 10 in the morning, 7 in the evening. Our activity exceeds most people's activity in the world, and we are 7 days, 365 days, we don't know what's a vacation, because we are enjoying what we're doing. We don't want a break. So, they never go on a vacation, there is no break, there's no Sunday, Monday nonsense, nothing, every day something is happening endlessly. But you will see, people are very energetic, healthy, sleep is very little. So, energetically, a human being can be at different levels. Why this is important is, see, what we call as life is just a combination of 2 things, a certain amount of energy and a certain amount of time. When it comes to time, it is ticking away for all of us at the same pace. Clock doesn't run slowly for me, faster for you, there's no such thing. Whether you are busy, you are lazy, you are sleeping, you are doing useful things or useless things, it doesn't matter what you do or you do not do, time is ticking away. So there's no such thing as time management. You can manage your energy. If you raise your energy to a higher pitch of intensity, what somebody does in 10 years, you may do it in 1 year. So if you live for 100 years, it looks like you lived for 1,000 years. Simply because your energy is pitched up. This every human being can do. The whole yogic system is… one dimension of yogic system is just towards this. If you sit here, even if you simply sit here with your eyes closed, you don't sit here in a static way. You sit here in a dynamic way. You never become static, because static is called as death. If everything becomes static, that is death. If inertia really sets in, that is death. So sleep in yoga is seen as death. You die every day. How long do you want to die in a day? You really must use this word for yourself. Don't tell anybody, I'm going to die. For yourself, how long do I want to die in a day? 8 hours a day if you die. 1/3 of your life you're dead. In 24 hours, 8 hours you're dead means 1/3 of your life dead. Another 4 hours goes into eating, sleeping, eating, toilet, bath, this, that. Where is the time to live, I'm asking? So, if life is precious, the most important thing to do is keep your energies in an exuberant way so that life becomes more, life feels enhanced, because you cannot enhance time.
Rule number 8, don't turn intelligence against yourself.
One thing is, the survival process has become easier than ever before. Believe me, in the morning if you need a bucket full of water, if you had to walk a mile to the river to get one bucket of water, and your family needed 25 buckets of water, you would have no time to mess yourself. Now you have a lot of time to mess yourself because our survival is better organized than ever before. Another thing is, most human beings do not know how to manage their biochemistry without physical activity. I have seen a whole lot of people, particularly teenage boys and girls between the ages of 12 and 16, who come to me with some severe, violent problems within themselves. If you leave them like that, they may kill themselves or kill somebody else, they're in that kind of state. Many of them have even killed their parents, it has happened all over the world. And in 2017, when I came to know that in India, which is not so much suicidal in that sense because there's a huge family support and stuff like that, in spite of that, in 2017, 18,600 children below 18 years of age committed suicide, out of which 7,200 are below 15 years of age. So 12, 13, 14-year-olds who must be bubbling with life are wanting to take their own lives. Why? Obviously we're doing something fundamentally wrong with the society, isn't it?
Yes.
Our goals and our stupid ideas of what is success is driving them nuts. Because we are trying to use our children like racehorses.
That's interesting. And when you say that, is something that represent us, that we've turned into something amazing, or in what way are they like racehorses?
See, when you understand life as a race, if you're in a race, what's the objective? You must reach the finish line quick, isn't it?
Yes.
What is the finish line of your life?
Death.
There you have it. This may not be a conscious process, but life within you is understanding it like that. When you… see, you must understand this, whether you are conscious of it or not, any human being. Right now, if you make yourself miserable, you must understand you are sending a message to every cell in the body that I don't want to live. You might not have articulated it in your head yet, but when you become miserable, you notice suddenly your body seems heavy and it's like, doesn't want to get up from this chair. Have you seen this?
Yes.
When you're happy, you're willing to bounce at everything and do everything, bend backwards if necessary. Why this is happening is the message has gone to every cell in the body, this guy wants to die. They're all thinking, okay, what can we do to help him? But by then, of course, you'll recover. So you want to die, you want to live, you want to die, you want to live. The body is getting confused because you must understand this is a very intelligent body. It's taking instructions from you. Every cell in the body has enormous sense of memory and intelligence. If you keep sending wrong messages, if they act, you're dead. Because you're sending contradictory messages, you're not dead, you're half dead. You can give it any number of exotic names. Essentially, you have turned your intelligence against yourself. This is supposed to work for you, but now you've turned it against yourself, it's working against you.
Rule number 9, liberate yourself.
First of all, people are assuming that anger is happening to them or misery is happening to them. No, this is exactly what I said earlier, maybe I didn't articulate it fully. No, you are creating anger, you're creating misery, you're creating joy, you're creating whatever. All this is happening from within you. But human experience is happening from within us, isn't it?
Right.
Whether it's love or hate or anger or misery or joy or anything is only happening from within us.
Right.
The simple question I am asking is, what happens from within you? Should it happen your way or somebody else's way?
It should happen your way.
Of course, because the world will never happen your way 100%. Because there are so many stakeholders in the world, little bit will happen my way, little bit your way, that is fine. But what happens within me must happen my way. if what happens within me does not happen my way, this is the worst form of slavery, isn't it?
Wow.
Somebody decides what happens within me, somebody decides where I should sit, this is slavery, everybody understands this. Now somebody decides whether I am happy or unhappy, isn't this the worst form of slavery?
Yeah.
So this is the liberation that humanity needs to work at. This is what inner engineering means. Inner engineering is not some mechanical process, because engineering means this essentially. You will say something is well engineered only if it works the way you want, isn't it? If this one doesn't work the way you want, what the hell are you expecting other things to work the way you want? It's just an accident. When you live accidentally, anxiety is normal.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is have fun.
He or she is hot. Now they say you must see this one, come here. Come here, come here. You must see how she's laughing at every joke. Huh? Look at She's cool.
Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? The science says that when you just watch a video, you get motivated, you get inspired, you have a 35% chance of following through on your goals. 35%! That's not enough! That's not enough just to get motivated. Believe Nation, we're here, you're here, today matters, you're an action taker. When you commit to a plan of action of when and how you're gonna follow through, when you write it down, you have a 91% chance of following through. And when you commit publicly to somebody else, it jumps to 95% chance. From 30-something% to 95% chance of you following through. Believe Nation, we need to make this happen. So question of the day, your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action specific for the next week. Put it down in the comments below, and I'm gonna show on screen sometime next week to celebrate you.
See, suppose you want flowers in your garden. If you sit in your garden and every day do flower meditation, flowers will not come. If you want flowers, you don't have to even think about flowers. You must think soil, manure, water, sunlight. Soil doesn't feel like a flower, manure doesn't smell like a flower, water doesn't look like a flower, sunlight doesn't feel like a flower. But if you take care of these things, flowers will happen, isn't it? This is the way life works. So, the important thing with our lives is, this is a very westernized approach that we are looking at the goal. We want the product, we don't want the process. No, if you're devoted to the process, if you're truly devoted to the process that you're doing right now, you will naturally do your best. Everything that you have, result will come or no? Result will come or no? It'll come. Just because you sit here and desire the result, it's not going to come. You will only have plastic flowers in your head. Flowers will not grow in your garden.
It's time to understand all the problems of individual nature are generated from within. And we don't have to solve problems that we create, we just have to dissolve. No? Problems that you create, you don't have to solve. If there's a problem in the situation, yes, we have to solve. But you have a problem within you, solution is not what you need, solution is madness. Solution means, for an illusion, you're creating an illusory solution, something that you make up. For that, you create one more solution that you made up once again. No, we just have to turn off the problems. You're going through a certain drama, only thing is you're a lousy director. That's all there is. Instead of improving your direction, now you're trying to find a solution for a situation in a drama. It's like people watch a cinema and come home and they have big arguments about what happened there. So, the thoughts and emotions that you create, you don't have to find any solution for it. If you just turn it off, it's gone. If you find solution, you moving towards insanity. Because you create a ghost and you create a ghostbuster. The ghosts that you create, you must learn to play with them. Hello? I'm saying if nobody willing to play with you, you have to play with somebody, right? So the ghosts you create, if you like them, you play with them. If you don't like them, turn them off. But Sadhguru, they keep coming. You don't play. Don't like to play with them, don't play. They come and go. Never it ever happened that one thought remained for more than a moment, isn't it? It comes and goes, let it come and go. If you try to find a solution for that, you will head towards insanity.
You told a story of a man who had wings but never used them to fly and just reproduced and had a life, and isn't it a tragedy that he never used his wings to fly? Do you feel like most of us are walking through life with wings and we never use them to fly?
Unfortunately, yes, a whole lot of people, too many people. It's time that human potential is unleashed, because we are the first generation on the planet for whom our survival is organized better than ever before, ever before. So this is the time to unlock our potential, to lose those all kinds of inhibitions and fears that we had. There was a time, if as much as a cloud gathered and lightning and thunder happened, we thought God was angry with us.
Right.
Okay? All those things are gone. It is time you take away the nonsense that's happening within you. And the entire process, the science of inner engineering is just this, how to work at it in a scientific manner, not with philosophy. I can tell you 1,000 times, give up your fear, it's not going to go. But if your chemical soup is blissful, there's not even an idea of fear in your mind.
It reminds me of your concept of the movies. You play the movies in your mind, you can choose a drama, you can choose a horror story, or you can choose a positive movie and not get stuck in the same movie forever. You can turn it off and start a new one.
Yeah, but for that you should know where the switches are.
Right.
You are like a supercomputer, but you haven't found the keyboard yet. Time to find the keyboard. That's my work, to give people the keyboard to their supercomputer. See, the reason, the only reason a human being will seek to know something is because he realizes that he does not know. If he does not realize that he does not know, there will be no longing to know, there will be no seeking to know, and definitely there will be no knowing. It's not possible. Whether it is spiritual seeking or any other kind of knowledge, you will seek only because you realize you do not know. If you think you know everything or you believe you know everything, you will be just too full of yourself, that's all. And that is a huge problem, that's a very big problem. Though we have a culturally cultivated humility that you see all over the place, everybody is like this only, but still too full of yourself. When you bend, nothing goes out of your head.
One thing that you must do to yourself is, you are absolutely truthful to yourself. If you're also truthful to everybody around you, you will get other kinds of benefits with people. But I will not go that far right now. With yourself, you are 100% truthful. Otherwise, all kinds of tricks keep happening. To be truthful to yourself is not an easy thing, because there is lifetimes of habit of simply bullshitting yourself. A guest came to Shankaran Pillai's house. And being a South Indian man, down south, Pillais come from further down south. He was carrying an umbrella, which is a common thing. In Kerala and southern Tamil Nadu, to carry an umbrella is a very common thing because rains can be very heavy. Then they walked out, he took the guest out, then it started raining. But Shankaran Pillai did not open the umbrella. The guest said, "Why don't you open the umbrella?" Shankaran Pillai said, "I'm sorry, the umbrella is full of holes." Then the guest asked, "Why did you bring it?" "Well, I never thought it'll rain today." A whole lot of people are like this. They think somebody else has to catch their lice. This will take a long time because someone else catching your lice will take lifetimes. You must catch them. You should not let your chickens pass. To become 100% straight with yourself, it'll take a certain amount of application. But if this one thing you do, asatoma sadgamaya, this piece of life will work for sure, 100%. Then figuring out a few things is very simple. For that I am there. If you just fix this one thing, that you're 100% straight, no any kind of deception. When there's a hole in the umbrella, you know there is a hole in the umbrella. You will never forget that there is a hole in the umbrella, okay? If you are like this, rest of the work becomes very simple and easy. People are always thinking that something else or somebody else is restricting their freedom. But once freedom is lost simply because they are tangled up with their own body and their own mind. These are two dimensions of you, two faculties. Unless your body and your mind is fully in your hands, if they're continuously working for you, never against you, only then you can live a successful life. People have approached inner well-being either with belief systems or philosophies or ideologies or some wacky ideas of their own. It's time to approach your inner well-being in a scientific manner. As there is science and technology to create external well-being, there is a whole science and technology to create inner well-being. That is what we calling as inner engineering, technologies for well-being. It is time that you approach your inner well-being also in a scientific, systematic way and employ technologies to create this well-being. Everything else you're using technology, you understand that technology can facilitate everything on the outside. Why don't you understand that the best piece of technology on this planet is this human mechanism? Unless you approach it properly, it will not yield. Living here as half a human being is not good enough. Right now, people's idea of success is they're doing better than their neighbor. No. Your idea of success should be that you are a full-fledged life, because this is not my idea, this is not my philosophy. This is the longing of every life, every worm, insect, bird, tree, animal and also a human being are always striving to become a full-fledged life. Spiritual process means to become like a mountain, stable, still. Because it's only when somebody has a very stable base, many things can be done. Exuberance of life is possible only if there is absolute stability. Otherwise, exuberance will lead to madness. Yes? That's why a lot of people who are a little creative, little active, little exuberant, always end up being freaky and nearly insane. Because without stability, you cannot have a dance going. This is why
Shiva means stillness, Shiva means dance at the same time. Either you see him sitting absolutely still, or you see him in an explosion of dance, because an explosion is possible only when there is a stable base. An explosion which is not destructive is possible only when there is stability. And stability, people try to become stable by controlling and trimming their lives. This is the way your grandmother would tell you how to be stable. Control yourself, then you will be stable. Yes, if you're dead, you will be stable. Very. I promise you that. So normally, people who talk about stability are all constipated existence. You know what's constipation? That means it happens little by little. Their joy, their love, their ecstasy happens little by little, here and there. That's constipation. So, stability is not because you have trimmed your life down or pruned it down to minimal and you're stable. That's of no consequence. Stability because you see everything utterly clearly. That is why when we say Adiyogi, we're talking about stability, at the same time an exuberant dance. This is possible only because he has more than two eyes, not necessarily three, more than two. That means he sees much more than most people ever see. Because he sees much more, able to be stable. Stability it takes to allow exuberance to happen. Otherwise, you keep curtailing your exuberance because it hurts when it's out of balance. If you're out of balance and you move at a certain speed, you're going to hurt yourself. Whether you're riding a bicycle or you're riding the cosmos, if you're out of balance and you attain speed, you're going to hurt yourself very badly. So balance is very important, and balance that comes out of curtailment is not balance, that's, packaged death. So you must understand this. If everything that you try to do is becoming frictious, friction is happening, obviously you are the sandpaper. You know what's a sandpaper? I'll ask them to provide you a sandpaper, a small piece. Every day whenever you have a friction with somebody, just scrape your skin somewhere. So if you don't cure yourself quickly, you won't have any skin left. When you don't have any skin left, then you will not touch anything. You will not you will not look for any friction. You will walk in… Suppose you had no skin, how would you walk? Even a little feather won't touch you, like that you will walk, isn't it? Because everything hurts now. So if you want that kind of treatment, we can do. Otherwise, first come to your senses. Friction is happening means, wherever you go, friction is happening. Obviously it's you. One simple thing you can do to reduce friction is, I've told you many times but you've not done this, is whatever you're saying in a day or in an hour or in a minute, how many words per minute are you uttering? Bring it down to 50%, still do the same work. You will see a whole lot of friction will go down, simply because you're not blabbering. Yes. And we've been trying to train you. Whatever you see, whether you see a man, woman, child, cow, donkey, donkey also, you do. No. How How will friction not happen? It will happen. So, only when Sadhguru is here like this, the rest of the time like this, it won't work. Bring this into you, not just as a symbolism, genuinely. So, friction, there are two kinds, one within ourselves. Outside is just an expression and a consequence. So, this whole thing about inner engineering means just this, that when you sit here, you can sit here without any friction. If you can sit here without any friction, outside friction also will go down. But when you meet a sandpaper, there must be some friction. There are sandpapers. Hello? So when you meet a sandpaper, there must be friction. Otherwise how? There will be. So generally we avoid sandpaper if we can, but sometimes we have to work with them. When we have to work with the sandpaper, you need tact. This is something you have to learn, this will not come. This is nothing spiritual about it, this is tact in the society. Sometimes it doesn't work, but it's a question of skill. Some people who are not spiritual in any way, they are very tactful when they meet sandpapers. You will see these kind of agents and others who are working in government offices and in political atmospheres, they are so smooth, it doesn't matter how rough the other person is, these people just… they'll just get their job done and leave. So, working with sandpaper takes a little bit of skill and experience. Nothing spiritual about it, it's a social skill. But generally, in the ashram, there are very few sandpapers. Once in a way, people pop up sand on them, but they drop it, you know. They don't keep it all the time. Sometimes they are like that. They're not like that all the time. So when they are like that, when the porcupine has its thing up, you must just keep away a bit. When it's down, you can talk to it. It doesn't keep it up all the time. It doesn't have the strength to do that. So, your friction, you must understand it's just you. On a certain day, a bull and a pheasant were grazing. Bull was chomping the grass, pheasant was picking ticks off the bull partnership. There's a huge tree at the edge of the field. The pheasant very nostalgically looked at the tree and said, "Oh, alas, there was a time I could fly to the topmost branch of the tree. Now I do not have enough strength in my wing even to get to the first branch." The bull very nonchalantly said, "That's no issue. Just eat a little bit of my dung every day. Within a fortnight you'll get there." Pheasant said, "Come on, what kind of rubbish is that?" The bull said, "Really, try and see, the whole humanity is on it." So very hesitantly, the pheasant started pecking at the dung, and lo, on the very first day it reached the first branch of the tree. Within a fortnight, it reached the topmost branch of the tree, just beginning to enjoy the scenery. An old farmer was rocking on his rocking chair, saw a fat old pheasant sitting on top of the tree, pulled out his shotgun and shot the bird off the tree. The moral of the story is, many times even can get you to the top, but it never lets you stay there. If you're postponing something, you're obviously doing something that you don't want to do. If there is something that you really want to do, will you postpone it or prepone it? Hello? Do you see somebody is waiting for someone they badly want to see? Only 10 minutes. In the 10 minutes, they will look at the watch 25 times. Why? They want to prepone it. You're doing something that you don't want to do, so you want to postpone it. I'm asking, why the hell are you doing something that you don't want to do? No, because if I do this, I will get that, I will get that. That's not the point. There's nothing to get in this life. There's really nothing to get in this life. Either you lived this life in a profound and intense manner, or you did not. What will you get in the end? If somebody dies in the agricultural college, do they bury them or fire them? How is it? What's the tradition? Burying is good for agriculture because human beings make good manure. So in the end, what will happen to you and me? They will either bury us or burn us. That's all will happen in the end. You think something else, they'll give you a prize? Nothing will happen in the end. Only thing is the process of life. How wonderfully did you live? That's all there is. So if you are doing something really wonderful, do you want to prepone it or postpone it? Prepone only. So you must find what is it that you really want to do. If you find that one thing, you will always prepone everything, not postpone. This happened in 1941. This is just when the Nazi movement was building up in Germany and in some parts of Europe. So one day in Austria, a bunch of German soldiers came, broke into the homes, the Jewish family, a rich family, they broke the home and took away the adults, everything was robbed. And these two children, a 12-year-old girl and an 8-year-old boy were taken away. They were taken to a railway station. This is the month of November end, December kind of time, when it's becoming very cold. So they were kept in the railway station for 3 days because the trains did not come. Boys, little boys being boys, they started playing football. So they were playing football and then suddenly the train came. The train is not a passenger train, it's a cargo train, the goods train. So when the train came, the soldiers came and rushed everybody into the wagons which are there. Everybody got in and the little boy and the girl also got in, but the little boy forgot to wear his shoes. He left his shoes outside and they pushed him into the wagon. So without shoes he came. His sister, a 12-year-old girl, saw her kid brother coming without shoes and she got mad with him. She held him by the ear, boxed his ears, scolded him nicely, slapped him. Say, "You idiot, already we are in enough trouble, now you come without shoes." Because in Germany in winter, no shoes means you may lose your feet. So she's angry about that. In the next station, the boys and girls were separated. After 4 years, after the war was over, she came out of the concentration camp to find 17 members of her family, including her little brother, all had vanished. No records, no sign of them, they just evaporated. At that time, the only thing that bothered her was the last few things that she said to her little brother. She loves her brother, but the last few things that she said to him were such terrible things, it rang in her mind and troubled her. These are the last things I told my brother and after that I'm never going to see him, he's gone. So she took a vow, if I speak to anybody in my life, I will speak in such a way, if this is my last word, I will not regret. This one thing transformed her life in such a way. She went on to United States, she died in 2006, she did some phenomenal work, built a hospital somewhere near Chicago, I think. She lived a fruitful life. I'm saying, even if you're put through the most horrible situations, either you can come out using that experience as a better human being, or you can use the experience to become a horrible mess. So whenever something hurts you, there are two options. You can either become wounded or you can become wise. This is the choice. The more things hurt you early on in your life, the wiser you should have become, isn't it? But unfortunately, most people become wounded. This is simply because they just need an excuse to turn their own intelligence against themselves, that's all. Especially if the world around you turns against you, is it not very, very important that your intelligence stands up for you?
Around us, so many people will do so many things that we don't like. Yes or no? So many things in Mumbai happening, things that we don't like are every day happening. But at least within you, only what you want should happen within this, isn't it? Huh? I cannot decide that only what I want should happen with you, but I can definitely decide only what I want must happen within me, isn't it? If you could decide only what you want should happen within you, would you choose anger or joy? What's your choice? Please choose, I'm going to bless you. See, you want the highest level of pleasantness for yourself, isn't it? Then why is such a thing not happening? As I said earlier, you never read the user's manual. How this functions has not been looked at. Do not go by the example of people who came here a few years earlier than you. That, no, my mother also was like that, my grandmother also was getting angry, so I am also getting angry. They should not be the leading lights of your life. I want you to look at it. Your thought, your emotion, your body must happen the way you want, isn't it? Huh? If somebody else can decide what should happen within you, this is ultimate slavery, isn't it so? What happens around you, maybe we can decide, but nobody should decide except yourself what happens within you. If you decide, you would keep this in the high state of pleasantness for sure. You wouldn't be battling with anger. It's not just about anger, fear, stress, tension, don't address them separately. Essentially, your mind is not taking instructions from you. Why? Because you don't know where the keyboard is. Yet, we gave you a supercomputer, you do not know where the keyboard is. So one day you did this, something worked, another day you did this, something worked. You know, have you seen people? The radio doesn't work, boom, and it works sometimes. That's not a technology, that's chance. Have you seen this? If something doesn't work, people think tap, 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 it'll work. And a lot of people are using this for human beings also.
Fear of suffering is not just about pain, the fear of suffering is self-inflicted. Nobody can cause mental pain to you, it is you, in reaction to something that happens around you, that you cause pain to yourself. If you have half your brain removed, then you would see, you would be quite peaceful. Right now people are going through stress, anxiety, depression, misery, all kinds of things. You can give it any number of exotic names that you want, but essentially their intelligence is turned against them, that's all it is. Once your intelligence is against you, there is no force on the planet or anywhere which can save you. So the fundamental thing is to bring this, that all the faculties that we have should work for our well-being. Right now, our own body, our own mind, our own emotions are working against us. This one thing has to be fixed. This happened in the year 98-99. Andre Agassi and Boris Becker played 3 games. All Boris Becker beat Andre Agassi because he had such a… he was called Boom Boom because Boris Becker was called Boom Boom because of the service. His serves were so powerful, there was no game. Every time he will serve and finish the game. Nobody returns the ball. So, Andre Agassi went back and studied hundreds of hours of Boris Becker's serves. Then he figured it out. Then in the next 3 years, he played 11 games with him and beat him on 10 of them. And I'll tell you what happened. After Boris Becker retired, they met in Germany, there's something called the Oktoberfest in Germany, they were there. And at that time, they were together and Andre Agassi thought, okay, anyway he's retired, now I can tell him. Because this bothered Boris Becker big time, nobody can beat him but this guy's getting at him. So he told him, see, I observed your videos continuously and I figured out that whenever you're serving the ball towards the boundary line, Boris Becker, if you know, when he's serving, his tongue sticks out a little bit. When he throws the ball up and comes down, his tongue sticks out. Said, whenever you're serving towards the boundary line, your tongue goes to the left. When you're serving straight, it comes out straight. I observed this, the moment your tongue sticks out to the boundary line, I was already there every time taking the ball. So, Boris Becker literally fell off his chair, he couldn't believe this. And he said, any number of times I went home after the matches and I told my wife, he seems to be reading my mind. But you've been reading my tongue. It's almost spoken. So, your opponent should be never unfamiliar to you. You must make him familiar. You must know him better than he knows himself.
Just to give a little bit of context, we saw the video of Sadhguruji running on Himalayas, playing football, playing cricket. So sir, in that context, how to keep yourself on the go all the time?
On the go. You don't have to be on the go all the time. If life demands, people ask me, Sadhguru, how are you active like this? Because generally my schedule is anywhere between 18 to 20 hours a day, 7 days of the week, 365 days, non-stop. For many years it's going on. I'm complaining and the guy's clapping about it. So people keep asking, how do you keep yourself like this? How do you do this? See, I'm essentially lazy. It's just that the situation in the world demands action. Left to myself, I would close my eyes and simply sit. I'm made like this, if I close my eyes, I can sit like this till I fall dead. Really. I have really no need for action, I'm not trying to keep myself busy. There's a lot to be done, so you're doing. People ask me, Sadhguru, what's your dream? What is your dream? I said, my dream is the day I'm unemployed, that's a great day. Because if I'm unemployed, it simply means everybody is doing fantastic. What more do you want? Dream fulfilled? So, action is not something that you decide. You just decide your intent. Action, the world will decide how much of what. I'm, at these economic forums and stuff, I'm at the World Economic Forum. This guy, from the business schools in Harvard Business School, one professor comes, oh, you're that amazing tree planter? I said, no, I'm not a tree planter. He said, no, you planted those millions of trees. Yes, I did, but I'm not a tree planter. Asked me, then what do you do? I said, I make people flower, not plant trees, but I'm planting trees because the god trees are missing where they should have been. Where they should have been, they're not there. It's like this, two men were working on the street. One man is digging pits, behind him another man is coming and closing and going. Somebody else was driving by, they saw this ridiculous activity. One guy digs the pit, another guy closes the pit. So they stopped and said, hey, what are you doing here? Why are you guys working like this? One guy digging, another guy closing. They said, no, the in-between guy has gone on leave, he's the tree planter. He's not there, we're doing our work. So lot of people are doing work like this, I'm doing my work. You have no work on this planet. If the planet needs work, if the world needs work, we will do it. Otherwise, why should I think this is my work? Sadhguru, what's your mission? I said, no mission, I'm just fooling around a bit. Because you have no business to have your own mission. Life has its own mission. In some way, if you can assist and serve that, that's about it. What is it that you have your own mission? Are you some kind of a tyrant? All missionaries are tyrants in some way, unknowingly. Yes, those who think they have a mission. There is no mission. What is needed you do, especially when you study in a business school and get certain competence to manage things or create things. You must create what is needed, not create some rubbish and push it on them. Yes? Yes or no? You must see how to make life better, how to solve situations which are problematic to a whole lot of people. You must look for solutions and solutions for the existing situations. And of course, there are experts who go on creating new problems. So you will never be short of problems, believe me. You just have to create solutions, not go on a mission mode. That's for Mussolini. What people are generally calling as destiny is essentially what they end up creating unconsciously. When I say unconsciously, as you sit here right now, as everybody sits here right now, there is physical activity going on within the system. There is mental process, there is emotional activity, and of course the life energies are active. Every moment, they are taking in hundreds of inputs, whether you're conscious or not conscious. So if I ask you a question, since this morning, from the time you woke up till now, of these 4 dimensions of activity, how much have you conducted consciously? What percentage do you think?
Few things.
How much percentage do you think?
25%.
You are very generous, man. It's well below 1%. If you walk from there to there, there will be 25 different kind of smells that you're not conscious of, but the body registers and records. There are 100 different kinds of sounds that the body registers that you're not conscious of. Like this throughout the day and night, in wakefulness and sleep, this is happening. When you are only conscious of less than 1% of your activity, definitely life will look like an accident. Hello? When 99% of the things that you're doing unconsciously, definitely life will look accidental. If the accident… See, it is so happened, somebody fell off on the street and had a brain injury, after that suddenly, they started working their mathematics in a wonderful way. But that was only one. 1,000 other people who cracked their skull never recovered from that, or they died, or those who lived on much diminished. So, being accidentally fortunate is not the way to exist. So, whenever a pleasant accident happens, we say it's destiny. Some of you even say, God doing things to me. When did you make a partnership with him? I don't know. So, shall I tell you a story? Are you okay? This happened. Sherlock Holmes, you know Sherlock Holmes? And Watson went out camping, and early morning, 3:30 a.m., Sherlock Holmes nudged Watson. He opened his eyes, "What? What do you see?" he asked. "Well, I see a clear sky and stars." "What does it mean to you?" He said, "Well, that means tomorrow is going to be a wonderful sunny day." Then he asked, "What does it mean to you?" He said, "It means someone has stolen our tent." So, we don't know what went missing, and something may fall here and there by chance, but that's not the way life works. If a human being doesn't take it upon himself or herself to make their own destiny, they're still having an evolutionary problem. That is, they're still not yet fully there. Because being human means this, that we can conduct our life consciously. Being human means this, that we can craft our life the way we want. But this destiny business is a good insurance to handle your failure. Whenever you fail, destiny, it's God's will. Just because somebody is successful, this doesn't mean they've figured out everything. This doesn't mean they're at ease with life. This doesn't mean their life is in some way fulfilled. No, because today our idea of success is just doing little better than somebody else. You doing little better than somebody else means, and you're very happy about that, what it means is you're actually enjoying other people's failures. If somebody enjoys another person's failure, I call that sickness, not success. What do you call it? Hello? I enjoy that you failed. This is sickness, this is not success, isn't it? Unfortunately, this is how you're going. This is the reason why human potential is not unleashed. Because if you're racing with a lame person, you're just happy you're one step ahead of him. Only when you meet Mr. Bolt, you understand who the hell you are. Yes? Till then, you think you are a great runner because the other person doesn't have legs.
You did this activity where to get us awake and energized, you had us close our eyes and you counted to 3, and then we had to yell, lose our inhibitions and let it all out. And that idea of kind of losing control and losing inhibitions, for me personally, has actually been a challenge. And I was hoping to get your perspective. I have never done drugs because I don't want to lose control. I fight roller coasters because I don't like losing control of the body.
Am I supposed to believe all this?
I'm excited for your perspective. I don't know why it came up, because last night I did my best, but it's always been a challenge or a struggle for me, and I'm just curious to get your perspective.
Nature has imposed substantial amount of restrictions on life. You can't just zoom off into the space. There is enough restrictions. You don't have to invent your own restrictions on top of it. So if you invent your own restrictions, slowly over a period of time, you become a constipated life. That means life won't happen easy. It happens in small happenings. So being in a state of abandon, not out of control, being in a state of abandon means all the stops that you have put on yourself, you pulled it off. Nature's stops are still there for your safety and your well-being. But why are you imposing stops? There's enough, gravity is holding you down, that's bad enough. Now you want to hold yourself down, why? Because fear. What is the fear about? The fear is always about, if I do this, I may suffer. So that is the fundamental of my work, to bring you to a place where there's no fear of suffering.
As a child, did you blow soap bubbles? Soap bubbles. So when you blew soap bubbles, have you seen somebody got this big bubble, you got only this big bubble?
We must hold our breath and leave it slow, then we'd get a big bubble. Everything has…
Everybody had air in the lungs, but somebody got a big bubble, somebody got a small bubble. What is this about? See, when it comes to body, this is my body, that is your body, 100% clear, no confusion about this, isn't it? This is my body, that is your body. This is my mind, that is your mind. But when it comes to life, there is no such thing as my life and your life. This is a living cosmos. How much life will you capture within your system will determine the size and scope of your life. Somebody got a big bubble, somebody else got a small bubble, poop, it went off. You cannot identify where is my air and where is your air, isn't it? So similarly, when it comes to life, there is no such thing as my life and your life, but distinctly my body and your body, my mind and your mind, but no my life and your life. There is life, abundant life. This is a living cosmos. How much life will you capture within yourself will determine the scope and range of your life. What one person can do in 100 years, somebody may do it in 10 years. Because of the sheer intensity of life. When I say intensity of life, it may translate in many different ways. See, there are times, for example, certain businesses have grown. Let us say, some business like, in United States this become a fad, within 3 years somebody is billions of dollars of worth of business. Let us say Microsoft has grown or Facebook has grown or something like this has grown. This is largely because of technological breakthroughs and somebody rides that technology. At another time, that would not have happened. So that is different. But if you want to create something really large, really significant, large or small is not the point, significance, then you need intensity of life. One thing is the scale of life that you capture. This is what I said earlier when I said yoga, obliterating in boundaries of your individuality means, in a way, you are allowing universe to invade you. When universe is not against you, but it invades you or it's a part of you, then you have abundance of life. When you have abundance of life, you will not hesitate to share. When you share big time your life with everybody else, people will naturally value it immensely because everybody is trying to hoard it, somebody is willing to share it, so naturally there'll be a big upsurge around you. This will lead to many things. This will make many friends and many enemies. A lot of people whom you have never met, they are your sworn enemies, but you don't know why. You never met them, you never had a word with them, but they are swearing that I'm his enemy. I don't know why, but it goes on in the world. So when we talk about how so much can be done in a short span of time, it's not a short span of time, it's 37 years. Incessant work, 7 days of the week, 20 hours a day, almost for 25 years, more than 25 years. On an average, I slept only for 2.5 hours a day. Not deprived of sleep, just kept my life energy so intense that sleep was not even an issue. There are times when I've gone without sleep for 3 days, 4 days, full scale working, not because you're on some kind of a drug and not sleeping, simply because of the intensity of purpose and commitment to what you're doing. Today I can proudly say, I have created thousands of people around me. All of them have gotten crazy like that. They're all beginning to work like this. Most of them, you don't know when they will sleep, when they will wake up, on, 7 days of the week. No holidays, no vacations, but everybody is joyful. If you come to the yoga center and see, you will see the most joyful faces. But they've never been on a vacation. They don't own a damn thing. They don't have money in their pockets, but they're just joyful because drunk with life, literally.
If you want another amazing video highlighting excellence in the Indian community, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.